Here's the picture that I'm going to change. So maybe I can change it from here. Oh, edit profile picture, but that's it. Mm.
Hey, Dan.
Afternoon, guys. Rob Morton here.
Hey, Dan. I gave you a response. No, I gave you mom figured it out. I gave you the response. Really?
Hey, folks.
Hey,
How are you?
The person,
Hi.
the guy that's fired up, you know, eating the good life and all, he's got to look over his shoulder. The peasants will rebel.
hi.
Hi,
I'm
Michelle.
just going to move upstairs where it's. Hi, I'm going to move upstairs where it's quieter.
Okay. Rob, you there? I think Rob's here. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Rob.
You're fortunate. You have one to strive fortune.
Hi, Zach.
That's
How are you?
back and forth. We find desire with both of us, right? You won. I mean, I'm not even gonna compete anymore.
Oh, is that Sam, Michelle?
Yes, it is. I know.
His voice carries, huh?
I know. He's talking with their son, but the two of them are, and you know, he's been unusually, he's been really loud lately too.
That's all right.
You know, he doesn't hear well to start with, but he's had a cold, so his ears are a little bit plugged up, and so he's not wearing his hearing aids. So I'm telling him all the time, like, Sam, you need to lower your voice. I'm gonna go get a chair. I'll be back.
Okay. Rob, are you there? Oops, I think he's coming back into the meeting.
Okay, now I'm settled.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think Rob connected, but I think we might have lost him there.
Yeah, I thought I heard his voice before.
Okay, we got Vicky Smith with City School District. Hi, Vicky.
Hello, how's everyone?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Good, good. Thank you for the invite.
You bet. You bet. Now you're the new board president, right?
Yes, yes, I am. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And did a great job. She
Oh,
really,
yes, absolutely. She's still my partner in crime.
she's a dynamo. Works hard.
Yes.
Just waiting for some folks to come on.
Okay, no worries.
Is Mr. Lesko joining us tonight?
Yes, he will be. There should be at least two others.
Oh,
Yeah. We sort of travel as a team.
okay. Good.
And I believe we're on second to, you've got some other business before we go on, right?
Yeah, usually we do the Albany Police Department
Oh,
update.
yeah. Yes, makes sense. Okay, very good.
Hear what's going on in the city.
Yeah.
Hope Rob's making it on. Hmm. How's it looking on the dues, Michelle?
I think we've got maybe 6 or 7 now. I think
Oh.
7.
Okay,
Maybe there's slowly a few more trickling in.
that's
But
not.
you gotta get me that password though sometime.
Yeah, I know I have to actually call Capcom, so
Yeah,
Zoom I can get through maybe this weekend, if possible.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call tomorrow. Yeah, I just call tomorrow around lunch, just try to get it on.
Yeah. They're getting to know me over there, that's for sure. 'Cause but it's okay, which is all right, but
Yeah, it's
I think it would just be a
been
little
just
easier.
busy,
Can you
busy.
please put it in the chat where to send the money?
Oh, sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, I
Michelle,
can do that.
pop it in there.
Yep,
Hey,
I can.
hey, Rob.
Hello, had some technical difficulties with my phone. Great to be back.
Oh, okay.
Had to break out the laptop.
Gotcha, no problem. Yeah, when I went to Facebook Live the meeting, it didn't work. I had to restart my computer and start again. It there's like a scroll like bar to show like the progress, and it kept stopping at like 30%, and then
Oh, perfect.
I got an error message. I tried like twice, and I was like, oh, something's wrong.
Well, at least you didn't get too far along.
No, it's
Yep.
good. Michelle, you keeping attendance?
Yes, I will. Yep.
And then Lynn, Michelle just put it in the chat for you there.
I'd like to see it because I'd like to know.
I know.
Okay, what I look like.
We go.
Hmm?
We go.
Okay, you change your names.
That's okay. Moving.
How's everybody tonight? Good to see you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Gloria.
How are you? How's it going?
Hi, Esther.
I'll put just.
Oh,
Sure.
Can't wait to see the new name, John.
somebody's on the phone. 727-8660. Can you please say who you are so I can get you in the attendance as a name?
Hello, it's Therese Joyce.
Teresa
Therese
What-
Joyce.
Joyce. Teresa Joyce. Okay, thank you. And what neighborhood are you
Thank-
from, Teresa?
Buckingham Lake.
Buckingham. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Michelle.
Thank you.
No, it's Therese with an E, not an A.
Therese. Okay, Therese. Okay. Thank you.
There we go. Evening, everyone. We'll give folks a minute or so to join us. Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. Council of Albany Neighborhood Associations meeting. Again, we'll give our neighbors a moment to join.
Yeah.
Another couple moments here. We'll let our neighbors dial in. It looks like we have Officer Webster with us. So in a moment, we'll turn to Officer Webster to get an update.
Ellen, did you order the Thai food today, you and John?
Yes, I did. We're going to go off camera soon so we can finish eating it. It's really
okay.
good.
Good, glad to hear
Wait, we can't see the Thai food?
it.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
It's where the Ichabod used to be, and they did a I dropped off the newsletter too. They did a an ad for the new Beverwick West End Neighborhood Association newsletter. But he's scrambling there. Nobody was there when I walked in. I called out hello. He came running in from the kitchen. He was so apologetic.
Yeah.
The food's wonderful.
Yeah,
Great to see the neighborhood endorsing and embracing the business. That's
Yeah.
nice to hear.
well, we're gonna try. We'll probably get there. Hopefully next week we can stop by there.
And that's the Beverwick West End newsletter.
Yeah. We just had our first edition last week, so we're really excited.
Incredible. Well, folks, if we're ready to jump on in, starting with the Albany Police Department update. Officer Webster, did you make the call?
I'm the guy. I'm ready to roll.
Evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Happy rainy day. It's a good day for a Zoom meeting.
I didn't stop the video.
Yeah. Oh, got a muter.
You're the board and certain.
Okay. So just real quick, I'm sure you guys got a very big agenda. Just a few things that we got going on citywide. Springtime is here, so our call volume is definitely ticking up. What we're noticing right now, especially over the last couple of weeks, is we've had a lot of motor vehicle thefts, and what these, which is a stolen car, people leaving their car running unattended or leaving keys in their car, and what they're doing is while they steal the car, they're committing other crimes with it while they're in that car. So there's really something that we need to work really hard at trying to prevent that by keeping keys out of our car. But that's one of the things we are definitely looking at. And some of the things that are being done are robberies with these stolen vehicles. So that's not every case, but our robberies we had 75 year to date, 75 robberies, and that's up 25% from last year. So that's something that we really want to get a handle on when the summer months are coming up here. Now, a lot of that could be, stats are subject to weather and things. Could have been much colder last year at this time than it has been this year. And that would affect some of the numbers. But on the other end, our confirmed shots fired are down 35% this year. Which is good news so far. Our guns recovered are down a little bit. So what's that telling me? It's telling me that there's less illegal guns on the street than there were even a year ago, because we're for a couple of years at a really strong pace of getting recovered guns off the street, and that has slowed down, and so is our shots fired. Now, I'm not saying we don't have them. I'm just saying it's slowed down 35% from this point last year. Also, spread through your constituents in your neighborhoods that some burglaries tend to pick up this time of year. And one of the things that is used is pushing air conditioners in on the first floor. So if people have air conditioners on the first floor, we advise securing them somehow with a screw or whatever. Some people skip that part of the process, but a good reason to do that is to keep people from pushing it in so they can get in the first floor of your house when you're not home. And as always, this time of year, we see a little bit of an uptick of larceny from vehicles. So just last week, 7 wallets and cars that were left open. So I don't know why somebody would leave their wallet in an unopened car, but it happens. So just be mindful and please pass that along to your constituents. Also, I'm sure we'll have another meeting before this all comes up, but please pass to your neighborhoods that we are looking to hire a large amount of people, and the application deadline for the next test is August 1st. And we could really use some numbers, and we'd like to get as many Albany residents on the job as we got. I was born and raised in Albany, and you know, I find that to be beneficial from my years of being a police officer. But so we can get the word out to try to we'll spend the summer to really trying to recruit, but we really like to get our numbers up so we can get to more calls faster. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Hey, Dan, Ray Moran here.
Hello, Ray.
How you doing? Say hi to your mom for me. All right.
Will do.
All right, but you might want to remind people, and I don't think the law has changed, but it used to be if you leave your keys in your car and it gets stolen and it's involved in any kind of an accident, you are on the hook for those damages, not your insurance company.
So you're right, Ray. Absolutely. Sorry to interrupt you, but not only if you get your car stolen with your keys in it, you get a ticket, V&T ticket, but a lot of insurance companies will not cover the loss on that. So that is something to be definitely mindful. That will be enough for me. But hey, listen, everybody makes a mistake. Leaves their car with the keys in it from time to time. Anybody can make a mistake, but just to be mindful. There's several consequences for that, and you know, for just an innocent mistake. So something to be mindful of. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
It looks like Pat has her hand up.
Hi, I'm wondering do you have any information about the incident literally in front of my house? Apparently somebody drove down the nice, quiet, dead-end street to overdose here on Victor Street.
I haven't heard about that. I'll look into it though. I don't know if my lieutenant heard about it. When did this happen?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Weeknight, probably 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it was a sad occurrence all the way around. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else?
Appreciate your time, Officer Webster. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Now going through the agenda here, it looks like we have the Albany City School District.
Rob, thank you. Ron Lesko, I'm the Director of Communications and Operations, and we are very glad to have this opportunity tonight. I just wanted to say hello and say thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to our board president, Vicki Smith, to introduce members of our team and to provide an introduction for us before we get rolling with the presentation.
Great, thank you, Ron. And good evening again. My name is Vicki Smith. I'm president of the City School District of Albany's Board of Education. And on behalf of the board and staff, I thank you for allowing us to have time on your meeting agenda to share information about the proposed upcoming school year budget. We're very happy about it, and so we want to make sure that you have all the information. I want to also say that I'm joined by our interim superintendent, John Yagelski, and Joe Karas, our assistant superintendent for business and finance, and they're both sitting down at the district offices. They look very small, but there they are. And joining us also may be Mr. Kent Baker. He's our assistant superintendent for assessment, accountability, and technology innovation. And he will also be able to answer any questions that I'm unable to answer, particularly around programming and so forth. Before I turn the presentation over, I would like to make sure you have a couple pieces of information right off the bat. And Mr. Karras knows I'm not trying to steal his thunder, but I'm just delighted to share with you what the board has proposed for your consideration on May 16th, which, by the way, is the date of the budget vote, and also where you may consider the reelection of two members of our board. So this budget that we are putting before you on May 16th is a budget of approximately $307 million with no increase in taxes. That's a 0% tax levy increase for the 23-24 school year. And we're delighted that we have that. It allows us to continue to support all of the current year's programs and services, including those and especially those added during the pandemic. That really pertains a lot to our social emotional learning programs and counseling and those kinds of things, as well as helping us again to continue all the support of our technology. Our students have one-to-one devices, our elementary school students as well, but they do not take those home on a regular basis. But I also want to acknowledge that our budget, this tremendous budget that we have, is largely possible because it's based on the state's fulfillment of its promise to fully fund all school districts statewide. And for us, that promise represents $16.4 million in additional state aid in our proposed budget. So we are very grateful to have that. And we extend a tremendous thanks to Governor Hochul and our state legislative leaders, Assembly Member Pat Fahey and Senator Neil Breslin. And I have to acknowledge Assembly Member John McDonald, who had prior to, I think last year, represented Albany in some aspect. But it's important for you to know that the district in the 21-22 school year received only about 78% of the foundation aid that it was owed. And that's based on the state school funding formula. But now at 100% for the first time in 2023-24, that represents a total gap of more than $40 million in annual funding that the state has allowed Albany's public schools to close over the past 3 years. And as you know, public schools are funded through state, local, and federal dollars, tax levied by local boards of education on residential and commercial properties is the primary source of local revenue for pre-K-12 education. We are committed to serving our students while holding the line on taxes as much as possible. And as you know, we do not have a tremendous amount of taxable property due to the state properties that are around in our community. But we lobby at every opportunity for additional funding to develop a budget that is supported or relies more and more on state aid and less on local taxpayer dollars. We'll show you later that we're pleased to say that in 22-23, local property taxes supported 42.5% of the district's budget as compared to 52.5% in the 2013-14 school year. We do anticipate an even lower percentage this year. I want to say that I believe Mr. Karras will show something like 40%. So we're happy to continue to get that down. This budget vote will also include a referendum of approximately $9 million to allow the district to complete construction of the rebuild and new construction at Albany High School, using funds already set aside in capital reserves. Inflation, escalation, and supply shortages has hit our district hard, as it has our families. Approval by the voters means that there will be no impact at all to our pocketbooks. So we're simply asking to use funds that are already in reserves. Oops. Last year, also with the voter approval, we were able to purchase 2 parcels of land near the Edmund J. O'Neill School of Excellence. And this year, with your approval, students will have new playgrounds, at least one, and we have a second one coming online, we hope. But we'll be able to install new playgrounds at this school, which currently has none, which this school houses the Albany International Center. The other thing that this money, this budget will do is allow us to modernize and install energy-saving lighting and update our HVAC systems throughout many of our schools. And doing so, as you know, will improve the teaching and learning environment in our schools and save the district money over time. Looking at multi-year budget projections, we are working to create stability for our students and employees. This includes moving staff from funded by American Rescue Program funds to our general fund. And this signals to our community and to our staff our commitment to retaining them and to sustaining student support services, thus to ensure student success. And finally, as a community, you'll be asked to consider 2 current school board members' bids to be reelected to continue their service on the Board of Education. The terms of Vice President Ann Savage, who many of you know, and member Damaris Mann expire at the end of June. Those 2 will be seeking to be reelected. We have no new additional candidates at this time, at least by the deadline that was submitted. I think that was about a week ago for petitions. So with that, I'd like to turn things over to Mr. Karras for further information.
Thank you, President Smith. Can you guys hear us? All right. Can I share my screen? Could you give me the rights to share my screen so I put my presentation up?
You should be all set, sir.
Thank you. So again, thank you for having us tonight and allowing us to share our budget presentation. As we develop the budget, we always look at the vision, mission, and goal of the district and how we could provide every opportunity to every student in the most economical way for our community. For tonight's agenda, it's the 23-24 budget proposal. Proposition number 2, which is the capital project information that President Smith was talking about. The Board of Education election. Also on the ballot is the Albany Public Library budget proposal. We do have a change in one of our voting locations so that there's an update on voting information and our budget calendar. Within this budget, some of our goals were to support student academic and social and emotional needs as we rebuild from the pandemic. A strategic plan that is fiscally responsible, responsible and allows student support and growth for all of our students and our community members, and to minimize the tax impact on our residents. Within this budget, we still have our full-day pre-K program in all 12 of our elementary schools and our 12 community locations. We have our 3 magnet elementary schools and the expanding dual language program. We still have our band, chorus, orchestra that start in the 3rd grade. We have our community schools initiatives at Arbor Hill, Clement, Giffen, Myers, North Albany, Schuyler, Sheridan Prep, and Toast. Also within this budget, we have our social emotional supports, including our behavior specialists, our psychologists, our social workers. We also have our instructional intervention positions to accelerate learning and to support our students in math, reading, and ELA. We have our Marching Falcons band and our color guard and our winter guard and our indoor percussion ensemble. We have 63 athletic teams as well as intramural programs for students in grades 7 through 12. We have our AP, IB, University and High School, CTE pathways, our avid college and career readiness programs at the high school. We also have in high school our theater ensemble. And we always are hopefully relevant in teaching and learning practices within the district. What's new in this budget? The 73 positions that were funded through the ARP funding or the American Rescue Plan funding will be moved over to general funds. So any of the new programs that were created in those additional funds are now here to stay in the general fund. We've also added 21.1 new positions. We are expanding our North Albany Middle School 2nd year phase feeder pattern. So we have to add a whole new cohort of 7.5 new positions there. Our high school is growing and very much our CTE programs for cosmetology, health science, and social studies. We are also looking to add more support for our computers and our tech area. We're adding a data engineer, a tech support leader. We're also adding 2 assistant directors in pre-K, or pre-kindergarten and transportation. And as we're growing our dual language program, we're adding a 2nd grade teacher. Sorry. So on this slide, it's just some of the main components of the budget of our expenditures. You can see from the difference between 2020 and 21 through the 23-24 proposed budget. You can see that the tuition we broke out between the charter school tuition that we have to pay for our students that attend charter schools compared to our tuition costs that we provide for our students that attend special ed or special needs placements that are private or residential. That goes in that line item. Here are some more line items. As you can see that for the upcoming budget, we're proposing a budget of $307,268,458. That includes all those additional positions that we just went over. On the revenue side, as President Smith said, we have property taxes. That's where we get some revenue, state aid, local revenues, which are pilots. We do use some of our fund balance, which is a savings account that we have within the district, and federal aid. You can see that there's a significant increase in our state aid, but you can see on property taxes here, it stayed flat. As President Smith said, that we are asking for a 0% tax levy increase. So the amount that we ask for this year is what we're asking for next year. Your taxes should stay relatively the same unless the homestead, non-homestead ratio changes or your house was reassessed. Again, here, as President Smith said, you see in 2016-17, just about half our budget was revenues were relied on property taxes, 49%. As in the 23-24 proposed budget, we're down to 40% reliance on property taxes. On this slide here, I just want to show the basics of our expenditures or expected expenditures equals our revenues with a $0 difference. That's why we have the 0% tax levy increase. This slide here shows over the last 10 years, or 9 years, I believe it is, 10 including for next year. This would be the 3rd time in that time period that we would ask for a 0% tax levy increase. So there's an average of 0.9% over that time. Again, here with the taxes, as we're not asking for additional funding, if your house was not reassessed or there's not a significant difference in the homestead or non-homestead ratio, your taxes should stay pretty much the same. So if the budget's not approved, we have 3 options. We can put up the same proposal for another vote. We could revise the budget and put it up for another vote, or we adopt a contingency budget. If we opted for a contingency budget, we would have reduced the budget by $1.3 million. But with that reduction, we would have to ask the community members that use our facilities to pay for the use of the facilities. We would have to make cuts in specific areas and in staffing. And we wouldn't be able to, we would prohibit spending on student supplies. So for proposition number 2, we have a capital reserve fund that was established in 2016. We're asking for the public and the community to approve the use of $9 million out of that reserve or savings account to increase the overall cost of the high school renovation rebuild to $188,900,000. But that additional $9 million would have no impact on the taxpayer since it comes out of our savings account. In this slide here, prior to the capital projects, our capital project team estimated 10% increase of escalation from 2008 to 2015, which is the timeline prior to the project and the approval of the project. But as you can see, over the 2016 through 2022, the actual escalation has gone up 33% or 38% when it's compounded. So that's 23 to 28% higher than what was actually the average prior to this capital projects being approved. And just as a little guide here, in 2016, a dozen eggs was $2.92, and in the current year it's $4.21. As President Smith said, we have two current board members that are seeking re-election. Vice President Ann Savage and Board Member Damaris Mann. For the Albany Public Library budget vote, the proposition is number 3. The library is asking to have a budget of $7,710,529. There are no library board of trustee positions up for election. And for more information, you could go to albanypubliclibrary.org. Call Stephanie Simon at 518-708-3912. So for one change that we have for our budget vote on May 16th is in the first ward, we are changing the vote location to New Hope Church. It is next door to the traditional location of the City Parks and Recreation. But due to the snow days that we took here as a school district, we have to have a student day on May 16th. So with that addition, we had to move this one location here. And for this year, we have no COVID-19 absentee option. For more information or to find out what ward we are part of to vote, you can visit albanyschools.org/vote. And our upcoming budget calendar, we have a budget hearing tomorrow at 5:30. May 9th, we have the Normanskill Neighborhood Association. We have another virtual community budget presentation on May 10th, and the budget vote is May 16th. For more information, please go to our website at albanyschools.org/budget. And the budget newsletter has been sent out, so I'm thinking that most of you should have received it. If not, it should be there within a day or two.
So a question on pulling from the treasury. Does that impact any spending upstream or any projects upstream?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
So taking money from that reserve fund, does that impact any development that could be coming up ahead?
It may, but not as, right now, the potential is not there. If we don't use it for this part of phase 4 of the capital project for the high school, this is the last phase, so we would not be able to complete the building the way it should be completed.
And I see Dan has his hand raised.
Hi. I noticed you had a couple graphs. Well, one graph had the bar graph that showed, I think, budgets for the last 8 or 10 school years, that the amount of money that you've been getting from property taxes has been steadily going down. Why is that? Because it's pretty obvious the tax levy has not been going down.
So there's, as the state aid has gone up, the reliance on the property taxes has gone down. So we're getting a little bit more money each year from state aid. So we're trying to stay in balance and rely less on the taxpayer and more on what the aid is that we get from the state.
Well, I'm wondering why there's less taxable property. Is that what's going on, or?
No, it's there. Over the last 9 years, it's a 0.9% tax levy increase. By that one chart, you see that there's.
No, I'm talking about the amount of money that is being brought in. You had that. Maybe I was reading it wrong. That graph you had, the bar graph.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna throw it back up there again.
It looks like you went from 49% to 40%.
Yeah, that one.
Yep. So this is just showing the breakout of the overall budget and how less of the revenue, we're asking less through property taxes, and we're relying more on state aid within revenue.
Okay, I had noticed on another thing that you had shown that the amount of money that you were collecting for property taxes had gone down since 2 school years ago. Yeah, that one. So you're getting 122 million for this year, but in 2021 to 22, you got 132 million. I'm kind of surprised at that. Why is there less revenue coming from the property taxes?
Because better than a decade ago, the state legislature adopted a plan to present more state aid to school districts over time. They delayed doing a lot of that, and in recent years, they finally have made it up. As a matter of fact, this year, we made the final installment that was promised going to 10 years ago.
Okay, I get it now. I'm a little slow. All right, thank you.
No, that was a great question.
Yeah, and you can see it here on the state aid part, where that's going up substantially in that time frame as well.
Right.
130 and 160.
Okay, no, I got that part. I was just wondering why we were getting less, why you were getting less revenue from taxes. That's all. Okay.
And do we have any more questions for the school district?
I was just wondering, do you have any information about academic achievement and how that's changed over this past year or whatever? I know all I've been hearing is, oh, it's COVID, it's COVID, it's COVID. But this year things seem to get a lot back to normal. And I was wondering if that's reflecting in test scores and actual measurable items.
Well, we need to wait to the end of the school year to be in position to actually confirm growth. We feel that's there, but it'll take to the end of the year to get that. And we go through a process with SED to provide all that information, and they'll come back and give us their reports on what they think we've done.
Okay.
And one of the things that we've experienced in recent years, and this has been over a long period of time, is the Albany High School's graduation rate has steadily increased over time. And in 2010, Albany High's graduation rate was 50%. The last two years, its graduation rate has been 82%. So we have, just like every school district, we were affected by the pandemic. There was learning loss across the grade levels. But one of the things that we saw reflected in last year's state exams for grades 3 through 8 is we actually moved forward a little bit in ELA from the last pre-pandemic test year, and we held steady in math from the last pre-pandemic year. A lot of districts, particularly a lot of comparable districts to our district, an urban district, those scores went down. So because we've invested so heavily in things like English and math support teachers, and in the social emotional staff that we have throughout our district, that has been for many years, and especially during the pandemic, a very key element of our investments in staffing over the years to support our students and support all of their needs, not just their academic needs, which we've invested in, but also their social, emotional, and mental health needs, which has been, as we all know, a particular point of emphasis throughout society as during the pandemic and as we rebound from the pandemic. So we have a long way to go academically, and we recognize that. But we do think that the trend over time, with the investments that we're making in it and the work that we're doing as a school district, is showing progress in that regard. And we're especially glad not to have seen the learning loss that a lot of districts did experience. And again, a lot of comparable districts did experience during the pandemic, which was such a difficult time for children, for families, for teachers, for the entire school community everywhere in this country.
Okay, so at the end of the year, we should be able to get more concrete information about this.
Our students just today completed the the state math exam. They took the ELA exam in late April. So we won't get those results from those exams to have the comparables for 2022 until later in the summer or early in the falls, when the state will get that information back out. So we're very much looking forward to that. I unfortunately can't speak to our own benchmark testing throughout the year, NWEA testing. I unfortunately can't speak to what that data has showed throughout the school year. So that's the information that I have.
Yeah, I guess I just get conflicting messages because, it was like, okay, this is great that the lower levels are doing well, better on their tests and this and that, and the upper levels are not improving yet. At the same time, the graduation rate's increasing. And is there a better way to measure this, to make sure that when these kids go to college, that they are, or career-wise, that they are actually succeeding?
Yeah, that preparing all of our students for success in college, career, whatever pathway it is that they choose is a significant part of the work, not just at Albany High School, but throughout the school district, to make sure that when our students are progressing from one level to the next, they're prepared. And as I said, and as our data will show, no matter how you look at it, we do have a lot of work to do in that regard. But we also feel like we are making progress, not just in this little bit of time, but over an extended period of time. And that's because of a wide variety of systems and investments and staffing that we're putting in place as time goes by to address the needs that our students have and that our community has. And we feel that it's showing progress. It's never the kind of progress that any of us want to see. We want to see all that stuff going, like the stock market in a bull market. But we do feel like it is trending in the right direction, and will continue to trend in the right direction with the investments that this budget would support.
Thank you so much.
Could I just add? I think also, I'm not sure to what degree all of you have been able to access our monthly board meetings. And Mr. Lesko can correct me, but we do have regular reports, one from our schools that attend each meeting to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, here's where we are on our academics as well as other measures. But we also receive from Mr. Baker and the assessment team information throughout the year on how well our students are doing. And so I invite you to watch those. If there's any communication, certainly you can communicate with Mr. Lesko or myself, the board, to say, hey, when is the next time you're going to be sharing out that information? We'll be happy to make sure that you have that.
And we just, at our last board meeting on April 20th, and all of our board meetings are available on our YouTube channel, the Albany Schools YouTube channel. We had a lengthy, really in detail presentation from our assistant superintendents for elementary and secondary instruction that really dug into a lot of the details of the work that they and their teams are doing to raise achievement for our kids and to support our students toward that growth. So if you wanted to take some time and visit our YouTube channel, you'd be able to find that board meeting and listen to that presentation and the conversation that ensued.
Okay, thank you very much.
Make a pot of coffee. It's a long presentation.
Thanks.
But a very good one.
Thank you so much to the school district for sharing that update. Next up on our agenda is the library, and I don't think we have a representative on the call yet. Is that right, Zach?
Actually, I believe I saw Andrea come on. There she is, Andrea Nicolay.
Hi.
There she is.
Hello, Andrea.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am here. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna try to do a screen share here. Do I have permission?
Yes, you do.
Great, okay. All right, so you should be able to see community report.
Yes.
All right, terrific. So good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Andrea Nicolay, and I am the Executive Director of APL. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about our performance in 2022 over 2021, as well as some upcoming plans for 2023, including some centennial plans, because 2023 is actually the library's centennial celebration year. We were brought together as Albany Public Library in 1923 by the New York State Legislature. So more on that later, but I'm also going to take you through, of course, our budget scenario for 2023-24. So just kicking things off, I like to share some of what we are referring to as our rebound statistics. And apologies if you have heard this presentation before. I've been making the rounds for sure to the neighborhood associations and having a great time getting to know Albany that way. Our checkouts between physical circulation and digital circulation have gone way up since 2022 over 2021. In large part due to the fact that a lot of people discovered the Libby app during the pandemic. Libby and Hoopla are two of the apps that provide you with streaming and downloadable ebooks and audiobooks. So if you don't have those apps yet on your phone, please take advantage of them. They are free and they are gonna hook you up with all kinds of great content. And with Hoopla, there's no waiting either. So that's a fun fact. Our visitor count is also up. So our people are definitely feeling more comfortable in terms of being together in our spaces again in 2022. We also saw some increases in our computer and Wi-Fi use, which is not surprising, of course. And I also want to make a note that all of our community rooms are available again and study rooms are available again. Even though they have been for quite some time now, I'm still seeing that people are not totally aware. So if you know of groups that need places to meet, we have plenty of study rooms and meeting rooms, not always at the time that you want them, but we do have 7 branches. So moving on to another 2022 highlight, we reopened a renovated North Albany branch in 2022. In fact, just a few months after I started, we got to cut the ribbon and reopen that branch. It was renovated during the time that North Albany Middle School was closed for their own renovations, and it's a library branch that's attached to North Albany Middle School, even though it's obviously totally separate. It's a library, but it actually features a new community room, 2 new study rooms, essentially 12% more public library than was there before. We're still trying to drive foot traffic to North Albany, so we are always trying to think of creative ways to do that in terms of programming and some of our collection development in the year to come. So stay tuned for that. And we're really proud of our mighty little branch in North Albany. More 2022 highlights. All of our in-person programs came back in 2022. So story times and all of that great stuff, arts and crafts programs, music events. I'm sure many of you have attended our Art at APL program at the Pine Hills branch as well. So happy to be supporting the arts in person again. We are also fortunate to be able to provide the city with the Keep Albany Connected program with support from the Friends and Foundation of Albany Public Library. This innovative program made possible by the Schmidt Foundation and Friends and Foundation of APL basically provides Wi-Fi at 3 Albany parks, Swinburne, Lincoln, and Washington Park, as well as 13 locations of the Albany Housing Authority. And I'm also happy to say that Friends and Foundation are going to be partnering with Attain Lab, the SUNY Albany Attain Lab, to provide training at the Albany Housing Authority locations as well. So more to come on that in the months ahead. Finally, I obviously get to lead a phenomenal team of librarians and library workers at APL. So I was really happy to join as executive director in August of 2022. I live downtown. I'm actually currently in the real estate market in Albany, trying to look for a place to buy. It is intimidating. Let me tell you, things are going fast. What is in store for 2023? So we've got a new strategic plan for the library. So the trustees in March approved a plan with 4 major goals: community engagement, workforce, which actually goes to recruitment and retention. So many organizations are struggling with that these days, and we are too. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and access, which is, of course, an overarching goal. Almost everything that we do, we have to look at with that lens, especially when it comes to collections and programming. So looking at ways to enhance our collections of material that are there in languages other than English, looking to enhance our programming across the board with presenters and opportunities that reflect the community and attract new library users. Lastly, sustainability is always a prominent goal for this strategic plan, with touching on facility sustainability. So one example of what we're doing with our facilities is we're replacing all of our lighting this coming fall with LED lighting as a result of a Division of Library Development grant. Very grateful for that, and looking forward to making our spaces brighter as well as saving a whole lot on electricity. So sustainability goes to facilities. It also goes to our financial sustainability and our human capital. So again, back to the theme of recruitment and retention. We're also looking at how library use has changed. So during the pandemic and after the pandemic, people are just, their behavior, their patterns are different. What they want from the library is different. And we're looking at how we can provide more within the resources that we have. As I referenced earlier, our centennial year is in 2023. In fact, May 21st is the kickoff celebration. We're having a huge block party at Howe. So please share with your membership that that block party is open to all. All are welcome. We're going to have a DJ. Mayor Sheehan is going to be making a proclamation, and May 21st forevermore will be known as APL Day in Albany, which is very exciting. We also have Bleecker will be on hand. So if you don't have a picture with the library mascot owl, this is your golden opportunity to have your picture taken. And of course, we'll encourage you to share it everywhere. We also are going to have a listening booth for stories, to capture stories from folks with great library stories to tell. And we're, of course, doing a challenge with the centennial year. So incentivizing people to investigate all kinds of different library services and history facts through this centennial challenge with prizes for young and old. So looking forward to all that our centennial year brings, and very grateful to the Friends and Foundation for supporting a lot of the programming that's going to go along with that. Getting to the budget. So our board approved the budget in March, and our request is an increase of 4.58% over last fiscal year. This increase actually falls under the New York State tax cap. It's a little bit larger than an increase than you're used to seeing under the tax cap, but we're able to ask for this, and we need to ask for this in part. Well, I'll get to why we need to ask for it, but we're able to ask for it because there were a number of years in the last decade that the library didn't ask for any increases at all. What this means is that over the last decade, the average increase of library taxes year over year was about 1%. So we've come to a point in the library's history and experience where utility costs have been a heavy burden. For the last 2 years, we've been running at a deficit. So we have not had a balanced budget. We have been dipping into our reserves, and that's okay for a little while, but it's not sustainable. And in fact, we're at a point where we need to ask for this increase so that we can replenish some of the reserves that we had to call on. We also need these reserves to be strong and healthy so that we can apply for construction grants. The Division of Library Development offers construction grants almost every year. And in order to take advantage of those, you often have to pay the costs up front and then be reimbursed. So those are some of the reasons why we need this increase. For a home assessed at $150,000, it's about $11 more in library taxes next year. And I'm happy to answer any questions that come up about the library budget. I just want to share, in case you don't know where to vote, or you want to share with your membership where to vote on the school budget and the library budget, which are, of course, on the same ballot. But your polling place might be different than the one in the general election for the general election year. So you can go to albanyschools.org to find your polling location. Of course, most of you are so engaged, and you're leaders of your neighborhood associations. You probably know this backwards and forwards. But there is no trustee election this year. That's the final thing that I wanted to mention about the vote. Every trustee is actually midterm. So that is that concludes my presentation. This is my direct contact information. And I'm more than happy to take any questions now, or I see there might have been something in the chat. No, okay. Yeah, happy to take questions, and I will stop sharing this presentation.
I'm still downloading those apps. Any questions?
Hi, this is Joe Kniff. I have a question. Andrea, welcome to the Albany Public Library. We're glad you're here. And my question has to do with the public access studio down in the basement. Have you any plans to put that in a more accessible location in the building and maybe expand hours. This is a pet project of mine from years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, the library and that organization are two totally separate organizations. Channel Albany is a 501c3, and they haven't approached us about expanding space at the current location. But, and if you don't know, those of you who don't know, Channel Albany is actually based in the basement of Washington Avenue, so at 161 Washington Avenue. And it's true, it's not as accessible or nearly as prominent as being on the first floor of the library space, but we don't have the space on the first floor to kind of bring them necessarily upstairs. But again, we haven't been approached. I'm not sure what the status is of their strategic plan, what's in store for Channel Albany, but I would encourage anyone who wants to know more to get in touch with them through, I know they have a dedicated website. So yeah, sorry, I can't answer that more fully, but.
Thank you for your answer so far. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments for Albany Public Library? Very excited for that centennial. What a celebration.
It's going to be great. I hope you can all come to the block party on May 21st. It'll be a great time. And thank you again, CANA, for having me. And I hope you would have a good rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good luck finding real estate. So going back to the agenda here, John O'Grady, are you comfortable presenting the Codes Committee report? Hey, John.
Okay. Yeah, our next meeting is 2 weeks from tomorrow, May 19th. That's our next meeting with Rick LaJoy. And I guess I plan to ask him about what the relationship is between him and the rest of that neighborhood and community services department that Codes is a part of. That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Announcements, CANA dues. Zach, would you want to speak through that?
Yep. And I'll be sending out a reminder on the CANA email list just to, that the CANA dues are due for 2023. And if Michelle, I believe, mentioned that we did get a handful so far, but certainly not what we usually are. So I'll send out a reminder just to remind everybody to pay their dues.
And then as for new business, I believe we have Gloria Russo with the Upper Washington Neighborhood Association. Gloria, are you on?
Yes, I am. Hi, everybody. I want to give an update of what we have discussed going forth with our small group working on the development that's happening at the former Armory Garage property. Initially, Vicino wanted to put up a 5-story L-shaped building with 187 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, with 52 set aside just for veterans. That's how they sold it. And with discussions with us and going back and forth, because it's just too large, too dense, they now say, okay, we'll do 152 units, 4 stories high. We'll have 30 for veterans, 15 for seniors. And they said it'll be mixed income, where the prior plan was supposed to be basically mostly low income. We still feel that's a little high and a little dense, because right across the entrance to the park, the Western Hills Park, is a 63 unit apartment building that'll be going up. That is approved by the planning board and everything, so it's ready to go, but we have never seen anything of what it looks like yet. So we feel on top of 63 units there, we'd like to shoot for 70 over at Vicino's place. Hopefully we won't end up with more than 100 units. So we're still working with that back and forth. We are still going around getting paper petitions signed to make sure and show Vicino how concerned we are about the impact on the area. In addition, we learned last night that there would have been a planning board meeting next Tuesday to discuss rezoning of the property. Now, the entire parcel because a lot of it faces central, is zoned industrial and much larger than Colvin area neighborhood. Now, the other problem is when they split it up and Vicino bought their land, they bought their land on March 29th. Their land does not have any frontage on Central Avenue anymore. So we want to have that area that they bought have to be rezoned to match what the zoning says for Colvin Avenue. So it makes it more consistent with the rest of the neighborhood on Colvin Avenue. So that was supposed to have been May 9th. We just got an email late this evening that meeting has been postponed because there's not a quorum. So May 30th, the planning board will have a meeting. The rezoning issue will come up at that planning board meeting. The planning board does not approve anything, but the more people who could go to show up to that meeting to express support for changing the zoning, the better it is for the entire neighborhood. After it, hopefully it does get done and changed, and then it goes to the common council to be approved. So that's how that works. Okay, the property has been bought by Vicino. They did close on the property March 29th. And so we know they're going to be very anxious to want to build because they do own the property now. So we're working still very hard at trying to make this a more palatable development that's not too burdensome on sewage supply, the water supply, the traffic. They did have a outreach to the neighborhood on March 29th, the same day they closed on the property, with a big lovely spiel of how wonderful this whole project would be. And I spoke at length with different parts of them, and one of them was the traffic engineer, and he had said that, oh, it's no big deal. Morning rush hour will have only 65 more cars on Colvin Avenue. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with going up Colvin and coming from Central and how crowded it can get and going in and out of the little side entrance to the Hannaford Shopping Center. And sometimes it's really annoying to try and get in and out of there and congested. So, I don't think of 65 cars more an hour as a simple, oh, what's the big deal? But that was what the engineer was saying. So we're still working on it. We're still trying very hard to scale it down and make it a more aesthetically pleasing and less impactful and development in our neighborhood. So we'll keep you all posted, at the next CANA meeting. Hopefully, if we have more good news, we'll keep you posted and we'll see what happens. But thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Years ago, that area had a lake that was kind of a local resort for swimming and picnicking. In more recent years, the area has flooded several times, right up into the beer distributors there. What plans have they made for stormwater there? Because obviously the pipes that are there now cannot hold, their capacity is limited.
Yes, they have not made any as far as their environmental assessment form and what they filled out and have prepared, and I read through it thoroughly. Basically, they say that the stormwater pipes are big enough to handle it, and they'll add a few more pipes and maybe a small retention area.
Is that Dan Hirschberg?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we know what he's like.
Well, see, I don't. I'm only lived here 2 years,
sure.
so that's you have to tell me what he's like. I don't know. But I don't think they know. Somebody else had said that there used to be, a marshy area back there in the pond, the lake, as you said. And I don't know how stable the soil is to put this huge building there way at the back corner. They want to put the building at the back corner and push it right against the park property line. Now, obviously, before they start building, they've got to do core samples and see, will that soil there support what they want to build? Will they come up with surprises that it won't? We don't know. They don't know. But there's part of me that I hope they do come up with surprises, so they can't build it as big as they want to. But we'll see what happens. But, that's just me off the cuff, my remark about it. But I don't feel that from when I read their whole environmental assessment form that how can I phrase this? It just struck me as, yeah. We just rush through it. It'll be fine with the sewers. It'll be fine with the water supply. It'll be fine with the stormwater, yada, yada, yada. It's no big deal. So I don't think they went in depth enough. I felt it was just a little too glossed over. But that's my personal opinion.
Well, just as a matter, a point of interest, the same person who is usually the consulting engineer for these projects is also the same person who's the consulting engineer for the city.
Oh, okay.
And Joseph, is this a new raised hand, or is your hand still raised from prior?
It's a new raised hand.
Oh, great.
And so, Gloria, I haven't heard too much about where they plan to send their sewage, whether it's going to go into combined sewer or if it's going to be diverted under I-90 and into the dedicated sewage pipe that goes over to the north plant. So we can't make any decisions until they actually tell us that. But do you have any idea if they have a history, if the Vicino Group has a history in the Capital Region area of other projects, if they've got a track record, good or bad?
They have a history that is not very good in this area. They have some places in Troy and one in Cohoes. Somebody from the Cohoes IDA, I think it stands for Development Agency, I'm not sure exactly what. There's apartments there for disabled. They were supposed to have all these services for the disabled residents. After 3 years of being open, they have never provided anything. And that was one of our concerns when they first provided, when they said their proposition with the 57 units for the veterans to have supportive services. And they were like, yeah, just giving us blanket answers just to get us to say, oh yeah, isn't this wonderful? They don't seem to have a good track record, and other people have looked into it and they're trying to reach out to other developments they've done. And they don't seem to have a very good track record of following through and making sure they offer what they said they would.
It looks like Dan has his hand raised too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I was under the impression that when you have a large project like this, they have to create a stormwater retention tank.
Yes, they are going to have something. I remember reading the report. They will have some area for stormwater retention, but I don't remember all the details because I read the report about 6 weeks ago. And I also have a memory though for the previous gentleman. I'm pretty sure all the sewage was going to that north side treatment plant. It's going directly into sanitary sewer. Not a combined sewer.
And Helen and John?
Hi, Gloria, regarding services, I read there a lot of what they were saying, and the Albany Housing Partnership, I understand, is going to provide the services, and they have a grant of like several $1 million.
I'm not sure if that was who was going to provide it. They had told me at that meeting at March 29th, the outreach to the neighbors, that they were getting a grant of $1.4 million for the veterans to offer their services, and that's where it was coming from. But I don't remember where they said they were getting the grant from. I thought it was federal for some reason, but I may be wrong. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they do have the services at least arranged for.
Yeah, it didn't sound, I guess because other people have known what some of these other developments done by Vicino, that they haven't followed through on the services. So a lot of people were just taking it with lip service, that really, are they truly going to do this and offer the services that the residents really need?
Okay. Well,
That's the general feeling.
I'm with a group called Housing for All. We advocate for affordable housing in Albany, and certainly needs it. So I just hope that there will be this dialogue and that has been started like within, since.
Hey, enable your PvP. What the, who am I?
So I hope the dialogue continues because we want the residents of Albany to be, as many as possible of them, happy.
And we want a place that is a good place for people to make their home in, no matter what their circumstances are, and that they're happy there and they feel that they have a good place to be. We don't want them to feel that they've just been dumped there and then nobody comes along to take care of the place and their management isn't very good. I mean, one of the complaints was that the building they have in Troy, they don't have a manager for the building, and they've been trying to get one, and there was a fire and they called the fire department. The fire department showed up and the fire department had to wait 5 hours for somebody to finally show up from management to take care of the issue, whatever it was that went wrong. And they weren't responsive is what I'm trying. This is what people have been telling us. So we want to make sure we don't end up with that.
And Gloria, I admire your advocacy here. I know on Delaware, we've had a couple of developers come in trying to build up Hackett, which is notorious for flooding as well. So very grateful for your advocacy work and thinking about affordable housing as well as making sure we're not oversaturating our groundwater. Anything else on this topic, Gloria?
No, I think that's about it. I covered everything. If anyone doesn't have another question.
Thank you so much for updating us and
You're welcome.
for that continued advocacy. I value that. Luke Rumsey with U Albany, are you good to present some new business?
With your permission, Rob, I'm just going to keep my camera off only because I'm driving, but nothing really significant from U Albany's end. We will be entertaining graduation here in about a week and a half. May 13th is going to be our large ceremony, which will be held on our front lawn as always. So if you're in or around the campus on May 13th, which is a Saturday, you should expect that there will be a significant amount of traffic, both on Washington and Western in the morning. That being said, it's also Tulip Fest weekend. We will have a booth at Tulip Fest. It's also Mother's Day weekend. So what better way to celebrate the weekend than to watch your son or daughter graduate and then head down to the festival. So we will be promoting Tulip Fest at graduation this year and encouraging all of our parents and families to visit the City of Albany's marquee event in Washington Park on Saturday. And so that's really it on my end, unless anybody has questions or concerns.
Thank you for the reminder. It's been 15 years since graduating from SUNY. 2008.
Go Danes.
I just have a question for Luke. Luke, I think you mentioned before that it would be possible to do another tour of the E-Tech building if CANA would like to do it. Would that be still a possibility?
Absolutely, Zach. We are regularly entertaining community groups in E-Tech, both for meetings and conferences and seminars, and I'd be happy to arrange another tour for this organization if people are interested.
Great. Yeah, I'll in the next email I can put a message out there, seeing if we have some interest for doing that.
Pat says 1979. Go Danes. All right, moving through the agenda here. And first, before moving on, any other new business that I failed to mention? Was there anything else that we wanted to bring up in terms of new business?
I just want to mention that CANA was invited to participate in the African Heritage Parade this year, June 17th. So if anybody would like to march in the parade, help carry the 10-foot long banner. It's a little heavy. We need a few hands to help carry it. Let me know, and I could sign us up to participate this year.
So then the financial report.
Rob, I have a question. And I don't know if this is a proper time in the meeting's agenda, but what's going on with the construction on Western Avenue near SUNY, which has come to a halt? I guess no funding or whatever is going on. Do we have any what's going to happen there?
I could speak to that, Joe. From what I understand, the developer, I think, fired the contractor due to problems with the construction, but it's at a screeching halt at the moment. As far as, are they finding a new contractor to continue the job? I don't know exactly what's going on, but it's come to an absolute screeching halt.
Yeah, it looked ridiculous as it was going up, and now it's just sitting there. Who's going to tear that down?
That's the structure right up against the road, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I know that there was a partial collapse of some of the framing, I think, before they got rid of the contractor. So there was some significant issues with the construction of the building.
Okay. Thank you.
Moving on to our financial report.
Let's say there's about 2,600 in our checking account, and it just increased by a couple $100 as dues are starting to come in for the 2023 year. If you haven't sent them in yet, give me a you can mail them. We take checks made out to CANA, or we can take cash also if you like, if that's easier. My contact information is in the chat box, so take a look. And Zach's gonna put out another email, just a reminder for this also. Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking to that, Michelle. As far as future meetings, we have June 7th scheduled, and then we're going to take a little bit of a summer break, coming back in September the 6th, and again, October 4th. So again, our next meeting's June 7th, a little summer break, and then September, October will resume. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss in this call? Guys, I really appreciate your time, and wow, 100 years for Albany Public Library. I want to be making it down to Howe for that.
Hey, Rob, before we close the meeting, just a reminder to the CANA Management Board members to stay on the call, because we're going to be having another meeting. Okay?
Thanks for your time, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Stop my live stream here.